here's Brody Brazil.
You know, I'm a big fan of interaction here on the YouTube channel. I love hearing what you have to say, what you have to offer here to the conversation. So phone it in right now at 833-4-BRODY if you've got a question, a comment, or any type of contribution to add to future videos. I listen to every single message, and I get to play back and respond to the very best ones here on future videos.
Hey, what's going on, Brody? Love your show. First time caller. Hopefully it's a good one.
Awesome.
I think it's more generic about what you're doing and what a lot of people are doing. I used to have a subscription to ESPN and live TV to get all my sports and really more my sports news so I could stay in tune. But I find myself just obsessed with, specific baseball channels here on YouTube, specific basketball channels and football channels. And I find that, more entertaining, not because it's necessarily better, but I guess it's because I just enjoy the personalities of someone on my level more. I don't know.
Okay.
Why do you think so many people prefer this? I think that's really why a lot of these, places are in decline, like ESPN and Fox Sports. But why do you think people are obsessed more with the YouTube and the Twitch streamer than the professional ESPN?
Michael from Las Vegas, I really appreciate the call. Let me just say that the landscape and the market of media and content, it is so spread out these days because it used to just be the main sports networks. If we're just narrowing in on sports, right? ESPN or Fox Sports or NBC Sports, but now there's podcasts and there's different social platforms and YouTube channels I almost put even in a separate category because there's so much content. There's so much great production going on here, even on this platform, that the audience has a lot of choices. So things have become very segmented. I think that's where we begin the conversation here. It's not just the main networks anymore. It's a lot of people like myself here with a YouTube channel presenting sports news and information and opinions to you. But there is a lot of momentum here on YouTube. That's why I'm here. I realize this as a place that I want to be creative. I want to have a little bit of a platform. I want to have our conversations and keep this thing growing like it's been. Sports networks, they have the ultimate advantage over any YouTuber in a sense of elite access and resources. Now, I feel like I've got a pretty nice home studio here, but this is nothing compared to any regional or national television studio of a major network. I can get a lot done in this home studio, but they've got great production. It looks nice. It sounds nice. They've got access to interviews and athletes and people and a whole staff. There's 20 editors. There's a control room. They can cover breaking news a lot easier. Yes, networks, big networks, they'll always be better positioned than any YouTuber to make better content and more content and quicker content. But here's what somebody on YouTube has to their advantage. A person on social media has their personality, which is unique to them. They've got their own takes, which are unique to them. They've got their own tones as part of the presentation. They've got their own timeliness. For example, if there's breaking sports news about a certain, hockey topic, and the next hockey show is not on until 8 o'clock tonight, and it's 10 in the morning right now, I can just turn on my YouTube channel and go live right now, or I can make a video in 5 minutes, post it, and everybody's instantly watching it versus the old linear way of old-fashioned television. You got to wait until the news is on to get the news. They operate heavily on a clock in old legacy and traditional media. So the person on social media has all these things going for them. And it's not to say that there's no people with personality or takes or tones or timeliness on ESPN or Fox Sports or NBC Sports, you name it. I'm just saying here on social channels and on YouTube, this is a place for people to actually be more of themselves. Many sports networks especially, I think TV networks in general, but especially sports networks, they a lot of times have the people and the personalities, but they don't want those people and personalities to outgrow the position. And let me use one example as this. SportsCenter of the 90s. When I was growing up, that's where you got your news and highlights and information. But it was half the fact that SportsCenter was comprehensive. It would cover everything. It would have all the right angles and interviews and the things that you needed to see, right? SportsCenter was very comprehensive. But it also had the personality of a Dan Patrick and a Keith Olbermann and a Chris Berman and a Stuart Scott and a Linda Cohn and on and on and on, a Kenny Mayne. You name the names, they were part of SportsCenter's branding. But how many of those people are still there today? And a few are, but most aren't. And how about even this? Crazy enough, somebody like Rich Eisen, who was an ESPN SportsCenter personality, has since gone on to do his own thing. And then ESPN and Disney, they just purchased the Rich Eisen show. So he's back daily on ESPN after saying, you know what, I'm going to go do my own thing. And then ESPN was like, no, we think we'll buy back into that. Or how about the fact that like the Pat McAfee show, that started up on the internet. And ESPN's like, wait a second, we see what you're doing over there. We want some of that too. But my point here is that what ESPN is searching for in those senses are the personalities that they a lot of times would dismiss and move away from. They thought SportsCenter could exist without those main names. Should Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann still be doing SportsCenter to this day? Think about that. Would you be more likely to watch if you're somebody in my age demographic who grew up watching them present sports? Or how about even if they had the SportsCenter brand and they were presenting to you on TikTok videos or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, would you be more likely to watch because it was them? They've been doing it for all these years. You might, but because those shows have turnover of people, and again, the networks don't want the people to outgrow the position, and then all of a sudden they're too good, the show is too much about them, and they're too expensive, so the network has to move on. That's the problem, is the networks keep cycling through people, but then the people end up on YouTube or social media, and they get to carve in and kind of build their own new foundation. I don't know if that all makes sense, but I hope that's digestible there. I also want to say that beyond any trends and themes of how people are viewing the presentation, how about just who's receiving this information? How about the people who are consuming content? There are habits that are simply changing beyond cord cutting, beyond, well, I don't even have the cable channels anymore, or I don't subscribe to ESPN. I know that was part of the call. But I think there's also the fact that a lot of times, if I'm at home by myself, now if my wife is with me at night, we're probably going to watch a show together, a show that we've picked out together. And it might be on a streaming platform, most likely. But if I'm all by myself at home at night and I've got, I don't know, maybe an hour or so to watch a television program, there's a lot of times where I just turn to YouTube and I want to see who's doing what on my favorite channels, people I like, people I know. I'm going back to the people and the topics that I'm interested in, maybe more than like, oh, let's put on a channel and let's see what's on. Like I know there's a guaranteed aspect of I'm going to find something that I want to watch. So even my habits are changing, and I've got access to all of the main local and national and regional channels, and I find myself going to YouTube more than linear television. And I'm somebody who's an old school person. I grew up where there was no other option than old school TV. And here I am going to YouTube first. So habits are also changing. That's part of it. No matter what the personalities are, people's habits, their viewing habits are changing. And I think that leads me to the last point here. How will our kids watch and consume content in the future? I mean, if I'm already doing this and my son is less than 10 years old right now, what's it going to be like in his lifetime in another 10, 15 years? How will he and future generations, how will your kids watch and consume content? Will it be the old way? Will it be the main networks? Or will it be something like right here on YouTube? As much as YouTube has been around for like 20 years at this point, I want to say, basically, I still think it's very much in its infancy, and I'm so excited to be part of it. So let me know what you think about all that in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there helps me, the video, and the channel. Don't forget to subscribe because you know I would love to see you back here next time.